All right, Algebra 1, we're moving on to Lesson 8-2. We're working with points, lines, and their graphs. And our essential question is, can you graph ordered pairs and linear equations? So we're going to go through a lot of definitions here. Plot. Plot means I'm going to plot a point. So let's say I say -1, +1. That is plotting the point, -1, +1. The horizontal axis is the horizontal axis, and this is an x-axis. All right, so the horizontal axis is the x-axis. The vertical axis is the y-axis. And the origin is the dot right in the middle at 0, 0. We've already talked where the x and y axes are. If I am to graph an ordered pair, let's say I have to graph +2, +3. +2, +3 is graphed just like that in purple, and we already talked about graphing -1, 1. Coordinates are an xy coordinate, so if I went ahead and graphed -2, -3, the coordinates of that graph in pink are -2 and -3. The x coordinate and the y coordinate, remember the x is always the first, the y is always the second. So the first thing says to plot each point in a numbered plane. So if I'm graphing 1, 3, remember I'm going 1 to the right and up 3, and that is the graph in yellow. -3, 4, I'm going to go left 3 and up 4. So that is the graph that I just drew in that dark blue. 0, -2, we're not going anywhere on the x, but we are going to go down 2 on the y. 3, -3 is going to go to the right 3 and down 3 in pink. 2, 0, we're just going 2 to the right, and that's in purple. And the last one that I have, I'm going to put in teal. I'm changing colors as we go. -2, -1 is in teal. How'd you guys do on that one? You probably did this in middle school. All right, so this is telling us to graph x plus 2y equals 4 in a coordinate plane. So what I typically tell my students to do in order to graph this, we do want to go ahead and use x as the independent variable, meaning I could put any number in for x. I probably should have done a negative number, so let's do -1 and -2. And then I'm going to solve for y. So if x is 0, 0 plus 2y gives me 4, the y would be 2. Now, I don't really have room to do all of this. The y would give me 2. But hopefully we'll start to see a pattern. If x is 1, 1 plus 2y equals 4, 2y equals 3, y equals 3 halves, which is 1.5, or 3 halves. What about if x is 2? 2 plus 2y equals 4. 2y equals 2, y would equal 1. Are we seeing a pattern yet? Let's see if we see a pattern. What about 3? 3 plus 2y equals 4. 2y equals 1, y equals 1/2. Isn't it kind of going down? It is. So let's graph these. I'm going to graph them all in purple. 0, 2, 1, 1.5, 2, 1, 3 1/2. So what do you guys think -1 would have been? Going with the pattern here, I think it would have been -1 and positive 2 1/2, right? Because this was 2 and it would be going up if we're going to the left, and -2 and a positive 3. So it says graph this line. It's a line, so we're going to actually draw a line through it. As of right now, our best bet is to go ahead and draw what we call a table. This table that you see right here is going to be the best option if you don't know how to graph something. And so many times we forget to go back to the table and use the table for graphing. All right, some things that we need to know. I made up this funny thing, or somebody made it up years ago, and it's called Hoy and Vux. And I used to not teach it, but I actually think I like it. Hoy means horizontal, and the O means 0, and it means the y-axis. So when given a y, it's going to be a horizontal line. So I just wrote that at the bottom, and notice that's going to be this one right here, y equals -2. So at y equals -2, I'm going to draw a horizontal line. Do you see that pink line that I'm drawing there? And that's how you draw a horizontal line. You would not just put a dot at -2. Now Vux. Vux stands for vertical. The slope is undefined, which we're going to start talking about slopes soon. And this is on the x-axis. So if we have x equals 4, I'm going to go to x equals 4, but I have to draw a whole line because that is going to be my vertical line at x equals 4. So remember to graph when you're given an x and a y. The best thing to do is to make a chart. We always want to make a chart like this. And to graph an x equals and a y equals, we do want our Hoy and our Vux. Tomorrow we're learning about slopes, so we're going to talk more about zero slopes and undefined slopes.